Hey, happy birthday to me, May 11th. Yes, today's my birthday, y'all. Make sure you guys get in the comment section and show me some birthday love. This is Rottweiler Vlogs, part 2 of the Maryland tour as we continue on. Episode 138, we got the Womacks, Destiny Womack and Sean Womack. This is a dope episode. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe because you know it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, enjoy the video.
I'm Destiny from Baltimore, Maryland, and I love Rottweilers because I've been forced to have 2 dogs that I didn't ask for, but I love them to death.
And I'm Sean Womack, the one who forcing her from Baltimore as well. I'm happy to have Mike here. Watch a lot of your videos, you know, so I think it's something big that is definitely on the come up, Mike.
Thank you.
Since I was probably around 10 to 12 years old, I had cousins in the family that had Rottweilers, and just being around them and seeing how big they were, I mean, it was something that I said, when I get a chance, I definitely have to get my own.
Yeah, do you remember the name of the dog that your cousin had?
One of my cousins had a male, his name was Shane.
Shane.
Yeah, and
Shane sounded like he was big.
Yeah, he was a big boy. He was definitely a big boy.
Yeah.
And being around him, I mean, and my aunt and cousins, they had him well trained. So he was definitely, you know, something that I definitely had to get.
Yeah, this was back in the 90s?
This was, definitely back in the 90s, yeah.
So this is at the time, because late 80s, early 90s, there was like a quick surge in popularity, and then there was a dip because the pit bull was on the rise.
Right.
The pit bulls were always there, but the Rottweilers was there too. You know, there was in the movie. I remember watching, you said Shane, I remember watching Low Down Dirty Shane when he was singing James Brown to the Rottweiler. Remember that? So that was in the 90s. So like, did you see the popularity in the breed around that time too?
And that's exactly what it was. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was Rottweiler. And then it sort of, like you said, it died off in the late 90s or so. Pit bulls became a big thing. And I think it was probably, when did you first get introduced?
2010.
2010 is when I told my daughter, I said, hey, I'm gonna get a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
And she wasn't having it.
Yeah.
She cried.
Yeah.
I mean, she literally cried. We went to a breeder down in Richmond, and we went down, and it was a bad experience. We drove almost 4 hours away, and we got down. The lady said that she had 8-week-old pup ready to go. We got down there. She didn't have an 8-week-old pup. She wanted to sell me a 7-8-month-old pup. And at the time, my daughter was 10, 11 years old. So it was one of those things that she was like, no, that thing not getting in the car with me.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, that's cool. So on the way back home, I was determined. I said, we can't go home without a dog.
Yeah.
So I'm calling, my wife calling. Destiny, she was happy. She was like, we don't have a dog, so I'm happy. And I said, well, I think my wife pulled it up on the internet on the way home, and we went to a pet store. And it was just, I mean, that was the disappointment. It was like we couldn't go back home
without a dog.
So it was like, okay, we'll get one. My wife, she wanted one. My daughter, she was like, oh, no.
And that was the first Rottweiler that you purchased?
No, that was actually the second one that I purchased.
Okay.
Yes, that was the first one for my daughter.
Okay.
And he turned out to be a good boy. I mean, he was healthy, very protective. I mean, he looked out for his best friend right here for a long time. And at first, she was a little, no, I don't want it. But once she got him in the car and got used to him, that was her best friend. One thing for sure, he was very protective. And part of me loving the Rottweiler breed is that he was the protection, you know, and this came natural for him, and his name was Bear. And Bear,
classic Rottweiler name.
Yeah, definitely. And so we had a couple of occasions where his protection came in handy for my daughter. So I definitely appreciate it. He was around for 11 years, and it just became a point where he got older, started having hip problems, and couldn't come up the steps anymore. He fell down the steps. Once he fell down the steps, I just felt that, you know, it was best at that time to put him down. And prior to knowing that he was up in age, I decided, you know, let's get another male. You know, something. You know, before actually having to miss him, I wanted to bring a younger one into the home to make it a little easier transition. So, looking around on Facebook, and I kept being undecided on what breeder I wanted to trust, and just going through Facebook every day, and I came across Sean Brantley, who, I mean, got some gorgeous dogs. I mean, and his buddy had a male Samson. Off before Samson. And when I saw Samson along with Lorena, and the puppies had already dropped, I immediately went online and I said, I gotta have a pup. And there was only 2 left at the time. Literally within 2 days, the family was on their way to Alabama.
Yeah. That Samson and Lorena litter was a classic litter.
Yes, sir.
Classic litter.
Well, I was the one that went to go get King, which is from Samson and Lorena, and it was very different. Sean was very welcoming to his home and showing his dogs. He had no problem showing us anything. He told the truth about everything, and he made you very comfortable, and he still to this day checks on and asks about King, and well,
nice.
He's the best breeder ever.
Nice. Shout out to Sean Brantley. So quick question about Sean real fast. Cause I told y'all Sean was a little bit nervous when he did his episode. And y'all kinda like believe he gonna watch this. What'd you think when you saw him on camera for the first time?
He looked like he had done it before.
Like
he didn't look nervous at all.
Okay, nice.
I got you, Sean. I got you. Bear was around for a long time and never had another dog in the house at all.
Let alone a male.
Right, and he was very dominant. So that was one thing I kept in the back of my head. I'm like, I don't know how this gonna work. So we brought him into the home, and just like I thought right away, he did not want King in the house at all. I mean, it was a tough experience for the first couple months. Then slowly but surely, he gradually came around to start to, okay, you can play with my toy if you want. You know, it was that type of thing. And I literally had to keep them apart. And it was a couple times I'm like, this not gonna work. But it ended up working out very fine.
How long did they have time with each other?
About a year.
Okay.
Almost definitely a year.
That's a good amount of time.
So the first 2 months were tough. And all after that, they became best friends.
Who came up with the name King?
Me.
Why King?
I was Googling names and King stood out to me.
Okay.
So I liked it. And it fits him. He looks like a king.
Okay.
He's the king.
and we came down to about 3 names. Yeah. And I said, you know what? All right.
King it is.
Remember what the other names were?
The other names were Blue and Rock.
Okay, I like Blue. I always like. My aunt had a Rottweiler named Blue, so he was so dark that they named him Blue. But talk to me about King's temperament and how he is, and the difference between him and Bear. Some of the things you see that's different between the two.
Well, Bear was definitely the dominant one for sure. As King became older, the little clash of dominance started to come up again, because he was feeling like King said, I'm getting big now, you're not gonna boss me around so much. So they had a couple, would you say, wrestling matches, tussles, as King, right around when King became around 10 months, would you say?
Maybe 8 or 9.
8 or 9 months, he was telling Bear, no, you're not the boss around here no more. So was
he bigger than Bear at that time, or
no? Actually, he was a little smaller than Bear. Yeah. Bear was about 115 pounds. King was about 80. Yeah, he was about 80 pounds, and he just started to let Bear know, hey, you're not gonna boss me around no more. And it came a point where I would just say, hey, they're gonna work it out themselves. And that's what they end up doing.
Yeah.
You know, it was a mutual thing between the two of them. They respected each other as King got older.
But they also respecting you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, you know, and you're probably leaning on your experience from being around the breed before, correct?
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. So it was one of the things where they can play outside, and King would test bed, and I could look out the door, and they both would look up at me as to say, "Hey, stop! He looking." You know, it was one of those type things that developed over time.
Are there other Rottweilers in your neighborhood or around?
Actually, it's not many around.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. But having King and people seeing King, I mean, it's like, where did you get him from? Mm-hmm. You know, people in this area aren't used to seeing Rottweilers with the big blocky head. Mm-hmm. And we could take them for a walk and easily get
compliments.
Yeah, people will stop, pull over, make U-turns, come back. Hey, are you breeding them? Hey, where you get them from? Can I get the guy's number that you get them from?
Yeah.
So that's been definitely an experience in itself to get a lot of attention just from a dog walk. If we was gonna get another dog, it would definitely be from Sean. I mean, the quality of his dogs, I mean, second to none. And I said, well, let's get a female. And what we plan on doing is having, you know, maybe having a litter or two and just taking it from there. Because, I mean, we so happy with King, it's no way we couldn't breed him. Mm-hmm. You know, so that would be something that Destiny is definitely looking forward to. Yeah, it's just, you know, have a litter or two and, you know, reproduce to be able to, you know, maybe keep a pup or two out of the litter and go from there. You know, I don't plan on doing this as a full-time thing, just something to, you know, have a litter or two and take it from there.
Talk to me about the new pup.
We had first pick on that.
So first pick female.
First pick, and Destiny gonna make the pick.
Okay. So do you already have names in mind, or?
We have Lexi in mind.
Lexi
and Roxy, possibly.
Okay, Lexi
Two,
and Roxy.
right? Lexi and Roxy.
The litter hasn't dropped yet, right?
It just
Just
dropped
a couple days ago.
Yeah, like 3 days ago.
Okay, nice. Well, I'm sure that you can update people in the comment section on this video on that. By the time that this video goes up and is sat up here for a few weeks, people probably gonna be asking. So just interact with people in the comments on Lexi or Roxy, whatever you decide to name her.
Gotcha, no problem.
And when you have me back in a year's time,
definitely coming back.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Yeah, we'll have her on video.
You can get in contact with me at on Facebook at Sean Womack. That's SEAN WOMACK. You can hit me on IG. That's Sean.Womack.12.
Nice. Thank you for being on episode 138. This is the Womack episode. Appreciate you both.
All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.